Well, greetings and salutations, test takers. Welcome to our Tuesday night Q&A. Let's get some stuff done here. I just telling Brian, I'm off grid and my battery is acting up. So when it's getting to 100, it's shutting off. The sun is going down, so I should not have a problem. But if for some reason I disappear, you will know that I will be working my way back to you, and Brian can hold down the fort until I'm able to get back online. So now that's kind of stole my chi. That and the cows. I have all these cows. So tell us what series exam you're taking and where you're coming from. We're joined tonight, as we are most Tuesdays, by our always special VIP guest, Brian Lee, managing member of TestGeek.com or just Exam Prep LLC. And if you have a question for us once we get housekeeping out of the way, Bill, feel free to put that in the chat. It's helpful to Brian and I if you actually tell us what exam you're taking, because the way they test certain things are different on different exams. Let's see if my ticker comes up if my battery is having problems. So again, not necessary, but helpful. If you are looking for a free supplement to your paid study materials, nothing better than my YouTube channel. I've organized the YouTube channel by series playlist. If you're taking the SIE exam, for example, you go to the playlist. There's 4 of them. Most of them start with a podcast episode or series. Brian and I have a 65 and a 66 different podcasts we did that gives you the nice overview of the exam. And we would like you to read the book cover to cover, but if you don't, this is a nice way to kind of see what it looks like start to finish before you dig in. Then we typically have a playlist of some lectures, a playlist practice tests and practice questions, so on and so forth. Oh, now Chris is changing the cows into my yard. Oh, God. I was telling Brian we live my off-grid location. If you don't have lithium, propane, and a UPS guy, you can't live off-grid. But these cows have been in my solar array. And there's a whole herd here. And these cows are like sacred because it's ranchers before, the people who are moving off grid. Anyways, I put a barbed wire fence around my solar array to keep them out of there. And for some reason, they just love our property. I don't know why. And I don't think these cows are as dumb as people think they are, Brian, because I swear they get just far enough where they think I'm not going to bother them. Are you really going to come out here and chase me? And then maybe they think it's a game. I don't know. Maybe they're like dogs or something. It's funny to see my brother out there trying to herd him in his car off the property. The fence of the whole property would cost us a small fortune. The playlist channel and all the videos, we're coming up on 2,000 videos or a buffet. Take what you like, leave what you don't. But if you're looking for particular information, please, please, please use the search bar, because you're not going to find a needle in a haystack. There's, thousands of hours of content and videos. It's okay, but tonight somebody's going to ask a question of Brian and I that we've been asked and answered many times. And if you just put that in the channel search bar, you get 5 different versions of us answering that question, or myself, or working a practice question with somebody. So where's parity or accrued interest or whatever it happens to be, use that channel search bar. Now, if you're looking for a paid supplement, there is nothing better than a Kaplan QBank. Until we get Brian to write QBanks, which I don't think we're going to do at this stage in his career, Kaplan's the best QBank. And all Kaplan products and services have a 15% discount code at checkout. It's Guru15. And then Brian has been kind enough to give our viewers a 20% discount on his Test Geek content. And Brian is the master of distillation. I mean, just today, Brian, somebody was bitching about the 700-page 65 Kaplan book. And I said, I don't know what to tell you. It is what it is. They said, well, STC is a smaller. I said, yeah, but still a lot. So when you're looking for that distillation or that bridge from those manuals to the test, Brian's video series are fantastic. He does have one practice test that comes with each of the video courses that I think has the strongest correlation to the actual exam. So, feel free to take that. It's on the channel, and you can buy it as PDF. But if you go, Brian has different a la carte menus. You can get the practice test. You can get the quick notes with the practice. And you get the videos, and you get everything. So just get the videos. About $100, I think, is what it is. On my tutoring, my book page, nothing is free with a couple exceptions. So on my booking page, you can join us for our jam sessions, which are free. That's where I have a version of a whiteboard and we work through questions. I also have free office hours for paid students. And that's where we also do our coaching call. If you win tonight, You do not win tutoring at a date and time of your choice. No, no, no. You win a coaching call. It's a tab on the booking page that says coaching call for weekly drawing winners. Logan was winner. I just spent a half hour, 45 minutes with him on his coaching call. He didn't really want to talk about content, Brian. He just wanted to talk about the industry. More than happy to do that. He asked me about building a book of business. I said I was a top producer, but it was decades ago. So I don't feel like I have any expertise anymore.
It'd be different, wouldn't it? It certainly would. Yeah.
Now, you're not alone. If you're looking for some people to join you in this journey, there's all kinds of people in a similar situation. We have a Facebook community, Baby Brokers Doing Hat Deck Tricks, very, very active with chats and for each of the series exams. So if you're a Facebook user, check out Baby Brokers Doing Hat Tricks. 1,400 members last I checked. Very, very active. And we also have Reddit communities. We have a R Series 6. We have R Series 7 subreddit for SIE and 7. We have for the NASA exams, R Series 66. And for 9, 10s, and 24s, we have R Series 24. So there we go. I think that takes care of our housekeeping. So let's see, Brian, what people want to talk about tonight.
Let's do it.
Hi, Damien. How are you? I like that. He looks pretty cool. Got that cap on backwards. Looks cool. Just passed. All right. Woo! Ask not for whom the bell tolls. The bell tells for you, Carson. Tonight, we also do a toast for our victorious test takers. And
Johnny.
So Johnny Walker Blue, which is a kind of a classy kind of scotch.
It's high end. Yep.
Boom, boom, boom. Ooh.
I have a little blue in my liquor cabinet, as a matter of fact.
All right. Well, I'll remember that when I come visit you. If you don't hold out on me, I know you got it. Who would have thunk it, Brian? We found a Cuban cigar lounge, like a Cuban enclave in Prescott. And my brother were there, and we were smoking a cigar. And then Chris told me that he got booted out of the VIP area. I go, oh, really? I didn't even know there's a VIP area. And the guy says, well, the VIP area is, you got to buy a locker. I said, well, what's that cost? He said, $365. I go, $1 a day, sign me up. So we got a locker. And I'm thinking this will fit just about that locker I bought, because I don't think you can fit a tall ball. So I'm thinking, okay, what can I fit in this locker?
I was thinking about you. I was in Canada a couple of weeks ago, and there was a Cuban cigar shop in Canada.
I love it. Love it. I gave the guy a raving review. The guy was a Disney guy for 20 years. And you can tell he built rides, and you really feel like you stepped into Cuba. And he stocks a lot of cigars. I like full-body Nicaraguan cigars. And he had more than one choice. And it's a walk-in humidor. So in his review, I said, hey, how did I start it? I said, oh, thanks for stocking so many beautiful cigars. I said, if you have a cigar aficionado in your tribe, I'm sure Steve has a cigar they'll love in stock at Old Havana. That's the name of the place. I prefer Nicaraguans. Imagine my surprise when I found more than one. So I couldn't decide. Should I try an adventure and smoke something new? Or should I smoke a reliable favorite? Or maybe I should sit down and just smoke one after the other. And I said, I've traveled the world, true, and been in a lot of world-class cigar lounges and smoked world-class cigars, including Cuba, smoking Cubans in Cuba. And what a neat thing to discover. There's a Cuban enclave in Prescott. Taking the 65 set. Oops, sorry, Jeff. I done right over Jeff. Hi, all. Failed the 65 3 times. 65 is a bitch. Excuse my language. Last took it in 2025. Started studying last week. Plan on taking it last week of October. Is that enough time? Certainly. You've been in the cave to slay this dragon 3 times. So that means you don't need extra time to kind of figure out what he looks like. You've got to know what he looks like. If anything, I would think, don't make this dragon bigger than he appears just because you know it's the 4th time into the cave. I recommend, do you recommend pretending he didn't take it 3 times and starting fresh? Or do you recommend saying, hey, I got a good look at him, and let's make sure this time I overlearn those areas? I'm going to say, Jeff, I think you should not start over. I think you should say, hey, I went in this cave 3 times. I know what this guy looks like. I just got to power up and overlearn it and be able to take down any draw. So that's what I would do. I'm not a big fan of Exam FX. Can't be helpful, but Kaplan is certainly enough. I would say if you've been through the Kaplan Q Bank 3 times, you might want to consider supplementing with either Brian's videos, he's a practice test, or another STC, because I would say sometimes after 3 times, you might need a different voice, kind of like a sports team that might need a new coach. So I'd like to know what your QBank usage is. And if you feel like you've seen these questions a gazillion times, maybe consider stepping up and buying some more questions. Your thoughts on that, Brian?
Yeah, it's been over a year, Dean, since he last looked at that dragon. I can only imagine what life events have occurred since then.
So, okay.
So I would probably go through the QBank, Kaplan's QBank, each individual unit, and couple that with Dean's videos or my videos or both, right? And then once you get through that, now each unit, you're not doing 25, 50, 75 questions from each unit, right? Keep it small in the beginning. You just want to get ramped up again, which there's 24 units in the Series 65 for Kaplan. So go through the videos, correspond with the QBank units. And then once you get through all that, take a simulated exam, run the performance tracker. That then will narrow where you specifically need to look.
You got to be over. We got to have a more margin of safety than we otherwise would want to have just based on this previous track record. So there you go. I think great advice, Brian. Taking the 65 Saturday, you gave me the courage to set the date. All right, Melissa. Best practice is to have a date. Best practice, because your brain then will start drawing to you. As much as you want to study and think, oh, once I get comfortable, then I'll get a date. That just never happens. There's always going to be new things you're going to find out. So best practice is to get a date. Get a date. 65s. Look like we got a lot of 65s.
Yeah.
From Louisiana. All right. We got to get Brian to New Orleans. Can you believe the man of that sophistication has not been to New Orleans? We got to get him down there.
I've been to 44 of the 50 states. How's that?
Well, there you go. So we got to knock out the rest of them, my friend. Scoring mid-70s on Kaplan, pass perfect, options, customer accounts, their taxes, all very strong. What can I give you advice for crunch time? Rinse and repeat. Sounds great. I would like to know practice test scores, scoring mid-70s. And I'm not sure you mean on these subject areas. And that would be worrisome to me. If it was mid-70s on practice finals, I'd feel a little better. So that would be you're testing, let's see, a week. I'd like a couple practice test scores. You should spend as much time on remediation as doing the practice test. Brian gave a nugget out about that past that performance tracker. So make sure you get a practice test done and to run that performance tracker to identify where we can get stronger through remediation. So that's what I would recommend. Brian, your thoughts on that one?
Absolutely. Yeah. If these are simulated exam scores, especially with the Kaplan simulated exams, if you're in the mid 70s, you're doing well. Yeah. As far as an area is concerned, and I don't know if too many textbook publishers do this extremely well, but we need to find a good suitability exam, right? A good suitability quiz. Practice that suitability stuff because there's a lot of it on the 7.
I have a whole playlist for Series 7 suitability. That's all. I hope I'm pronouncing that. So I'll check out my playlist, and there's a Series 7 playlist. I have a practice suitability test I wrote myself. The best out there. No, I'm joking. It's good. And then I have a suitability exercise PDF from Kaplan. I work with a student. So yeah, there's resources out there free on that front. Heidi and Brian, do BD, IAs, and securities all have to renew registration? No. You just missed a question there. Securities are 1 year from the effective date. So for BDs and IAs, you're correct. But for securities, it's not December 31st. It's 1 year from the effective date. When does the rule about registration becoming effective? Noon of the 30th day. I think of this, Brian, as no news is good news.
Yeah,
I think that the test issue here is not so much that it's noon of the 30th day, which I would know, but that just passing your test doesn't mean you're okay. You got to get effective by knowing the administrator says you're effective. Brian, your thoughts on noon of the 30th day?
Yeah, I'm going to assume this is a Series 65 question.
Of course, yeah, it's a NASA exam of some sort for sure.
Yeah. And it can show up the noon on 30th day. And Dean's right. It means once you pass your test, doesn't mean you're effective, right? It's typically 30th day from date of registration, as well as all other requirements have been satisfied. That's kind of the technical rule for it.
All right. Good question, Noah. Good question.
It is a good one.
Finished last unit of Series 7 today. Woohoo! What area should I focus on besides options and munis? Mutual funds for sure. Customer accounts is low-hanging fruit for sure. Mutual funds, customer accounts.
Suitability.
Suitability. Well, suitability, I link in suitability into mutual funds, options, and munis in terms of if you don't understand.
Rated, right?
Yeah, that's right. So
you've got to be strong on the products to be strong.
I love the investment vehicle analogy. And what follows the analogy is making sure you don't put the wrong driver investor into the wrong investment vehicle. I phrased it that way purposely, because the test is very negative, right? So I say, oh, you tell me you were a soccer mom. I don't think a Ferrari would be appropriate for you. Let me go find a minivan. So, that's the analogy they like on the test.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Hi, Dean and Brian. Thank you both. I just passed the SIE. Woohoo! And a toast.
Excellent.
Oh, that Johnny Walker Blue is smooth.
Does my ice water count?
Are you sure that's not vodka? How do we know that's not really vodka?
It's water. Believe me.
Guess what? I'm studying for the
Lady Bro. All right. She's doing the 7.
Yes. So, Lady Bro, Brian and I are going to make sure that you get across that finish line because you're a very special lady to our community. So, you need any help, you just reach out. We'll make sure we get that done for you. Can I go over forwards and futures? I'm having trouble understanding when to use forward compared to futures. You would never use a forward. You would never use the forward because, forwards have counterparty risk. They're not standardized. So in the beauty contest between forwards and futures, the futures are the winner because they're standardized. There's a clearing operation, so you don't worry about counterparty risk. And so I would think, Brian, anytime you would say a forward, you're going to get it wrong. It's going to be futures. And at that point, Louisville, it's actually simpler than options because you simply are going to buy or sell a future. That's it. And you just have to decide whether you think the price is going up, buy the future. You think the price is going down, sell the future. So that would be my answer to you. And by the way, even on the latest test specifications from NASA, they de-emphasize the forward component of derivatives. Brian has Farmer Brown there. So what are you going to tell him about Farmer Brown, Brian?
Oh, I'm so glad to hear what you just said. Thank you so much. It gives me vindication, I think, and validation.
Yeah.
I tell people in my kind way that there's certain flaws in all these textbooks, especially when it comes to NASA exams. I think the forward contracts is one of them. I tell people that, man, Farmer Brown or somebody who's growing wheat or corn isn't going to walk into their nearest brokerage firm and say, I want a forward contract. They are a highly sophisticated institutional security. The textbooks never relate to this. They never have any practice questions that relate to any of that. Dean is absolutely right. When it comes to a retail customer, they're never going to be buying or selling forward contracts. They're so difficult. They're illiquid. They're generally created by the financial institutions themselves and traded amongst themselves, generally not to retail customers like Farmer Brown. And he's right. If you think that the commodity is going down in price, you would sell the futures on that commodity. If you think it's going up, you fear that the price is going up, you'd buy the futures. One last thing I would add that I don't think I heard you say, that when you are a large consumer of commodities, right? You're Kellogg making cereal and buying tons of corn, right? Mm-hmm. You're concerned the price goes up. They're the ones who buy corn futures. Yep. The farmer, right? They're concerned the price is going down. They are the producer of the commodity. They would sell the future contract. So consumers of commodities buy futures, producers of futures sell future contracts.
The way I also say it is What you do, what
Producers
you
are
do at
fine.
the hedge, you do in the futures market today, what you're going to do in the cash market later on, right? So if I'm a farmer, I'm going to be selling, let's say I raise soybeans. I'm going to sell soybeans, Brian's point, Farmer Brown. He's afraid of the soybean price, the cash price in the spot market being low. And so what he does is put in the hedge. And then what he's hoping is going to make up in the value of his futures contract, at least some of the loss in the cash or spot market. Brian brought up a good point, right? Consumers, Hershey. Hershey is going to do in the futures market today what they're going to do in the cash market later on. In the cash or spot market, Hershey is going to be buying cocoa. And so what they're going to do is buy the cocoa futures to hedge the rising price of cocoa, which is, hundreds of $1 million in their case. So I think it's much simpler than I would agree with Brian than test prep vendors.
Absolutely.
Your course
are a lot of them anyway, right? 2 or 3 of them on the test.
Yeah. Well, no, if you tell you missed the exam because of Fordham futures, we're going to say, yeah. And then we're going to remember, we told you don't take the forwards. Just don't take it. Acolyte, your course really helped me pass the 66. Woo!
Thank you very much. I'm glad it helped.
Yeah, and she's buying the 7 as well. So, or him. I don't know if Acolyte's what Acolyte's preferred pronouns are. Test taker acolyte. Test taker acolyte. I'm going to do this. Take the 7 on Thursday, Luke. I like it. And using your videos, love it. So, do we have any practice test scores? Do me a favor, Luke. Don't sign up for tutoring tomorrow for testing Thursday. I've had 3 people this week, Brian. When I hit the Zoom link, they're testing it every day. I'm like, listen, I'm not a miracle worker. You should be getting some sleep. You should be, doing something besides having the tutoring session with me. Taking 7 Tampa 2 weeks from today, got an 88. Wow. Yeah, you should feel good with a score like that. Oh my goodness, that is fantastic. Just passed my 7 in Minnesota.
Oh. 50.
Thanks to both of you. I swear I had a death draw. Well, you got to be prepared for, I wish for everybody a dream draw. Everything you studied shows up and you go, man, I don't know what the big deal was. But we got to be prepared to take down any draw, including the face of death draw. 50 seems really, really high. So, boy, the variance, I think there's 20 plus or minus 5. Brian thinks that it would be outrageous for you to get 50. Hey, it is what it is.
If I had 50, that would be a dream draw for me.
Well, for us, yes. For anybody who understands, Brian, how important is that? I was working with somebody today, and I told them I'm having battery issues, but she didn't understand contract specifications, couldn't track money in and out. So however you do this, you can't be at some point fumbling around. A short put is an obligation to buy the stock. And, because otherwise you just read the questions, you're going to be staring at them going, I know B, right?
Yeah.
3 weeks is plenty of time, I think. Any advice or suggestions? I don't know if you're just starting your 3-week journey today, but our advice would be read the book cover to cover, then watch some videos, do your practice quizzes, make sure you understand the most important part of the industry is securities, right? And that's 33 questions on the SIE. So, yeah, Brian and I both have videos on executing a study plan. So put study plan in the search bar or go to Brian's YouTube channel. He has a study plan. I don't know, Michael, but Brian has been kind enough over the last several months. He probably regrets it at this point. But he has offered his PDF on a study plan. Is the offer still good, Brian, or not?
Oh, sure. Why not?
Okay, there you go. So send Brian at testgeekexamprep.com an email, and he can send you his thing that people love. It's what I do there? I accidentally hit the wrong button.
You look good here. No problem.
3 weeks. I think that's plenty of time.
There you go.
Do you have any suggested memory devices for all the dates and requirements for the 7? I do have a video called Tips, Tricks, and Memory Aids for the Series 7. So go to the channel search bar, put Series 7, Tips, Tricks, and Memory Aids. A whole video will come up. Reg S would be something I don't think you'd see on a 7, but Reg S says that we don't have to register security sold offshore, period, full stop, end of story. Yeah, there is a couple that people like for 144. 1%, 144, right? 1%, or the average of the last 4 weeks trading volume up to 4 times a year, every 90 days. Another one Luke people like is 1 plus 4 is 5 plus 4 is 90. Now that one I find a little odd. Somebody got to be careful because I'm not sure. There are some favorite days. So I'm not saying you should guess. Luke, 30 days is always a good answer for within X days. If it says 30 days, that's available. I like it. First step would be to hear test specific and podcasts ever in the book. First step would be to hear. Yeah, I like that. Exactly.
You're absolutely right. That
Absolutely.
podcast for 65,
If
66.
people make a mistake, I don't know if we should talk about mistakes. One mistake people make is when we say read the book, they never get through the book because they're literally highlighting every page, taking notes on every page. That's not what I mean to say when I say read the book. I mean, try to get through that book cover to cover and as close to one setting as possible. You don't know enough yet to be taking notes on what you're reading or to be highlighting what you're reading. You just want to, again, see what it looks like cover to cover. That's the goal. Now, when people are incredulous with me and they say, how long is it going to take to read the book? I say, well, just read for an hour, establish your read rate, and then divide, and it'll tell you how many hours that's going to take you. But we think you should be doing that, right? So I like that. Read the book cover to cover. Then you dig in. You start doing your units, watching your videos, do your practice quizzes, right on. Out of curiosity, if I already have my life events, I have no idea. I am not a insurance person who knows anything about insurance, so I have no clue. By the way, make sure you stick with experts, like securities experts. I had somebody, Brian, told me they got tutoring from a person who had nothing about the 7 on their website and was really pushing SIE and 6 and 63. And I thought, well, maybe they have a core competence in that. I mean, but, she said that the guy was looking up things while she was asking questions. I'm like, oh, my goodness. So try, if you need help, like I wouldn't try and be the insurance queen, right? And I just told you I'm clueless. So, everyone should stay in their lane, stay in their lane. Michael, my girlfriend took off with a month to do it. Okay, there we go. Sometimes I don't read the whole thing. I read each word as I go. I thought it said my girlfriend took off. What? His girlfriend left him? She had 0 experience. Yeah, I think it's plenty of time. Cheers, Jen. I passed last Friday.
Great. Love hearing it.
We are getting, I wonder if there's ever going to be a Tuesday night where I don't get to have a drink. That would be a bit interesting. I passed both of you on my heroes. Wow. I just signed up for my 3rd Test Geek course in a month. Vanessa, you should see if Brian offers breakpoints. Do you offer breakpoints, Brian? If they got
Absolutely. Absolutely. Ask me, I'll give it to you. I don't care.
Yeah, I love it. Podcast. There you go. I love it, Vanessa. I don't know what that's about. Sure, a pass. An A. Well, remember it's pass fail. I don't think that's like your grade on your exam. All right.
Wow, nice.
Acolyte, if you're still in the house, I don't know why people don't want to listen to Brian and I, but we love having victorious test takers because you don't have to take our word for it. You can get confirmation from victorious test takers. Absolutely. So if Acolyte's still in the house, if you'd be kind enough, Acolyte, to maybe respond to Louisville, that'd be wonderful. Pass with Brian's course. Woohoo! Hey, Dean and Brian, using Brian's strategy of study, I wanted to ask, if Kaplan has 14 units, should the last cumulative quiz be 140 questions? I think it'd be a simulated final. Do you think, Brian?
Yeah, probably. It's a good question. It really is. And I'd probably tell people to kind of use your discretion because you remember we're increasing the number of questions as we increase the number of.
I think we're ready. So Goldsville, just for those who don't know Brian's strategy, Brian suggests that you do unit 1, do a practice quiz, 20 so questions, get a 75, move on to unit 2, do a practice quiz. Whoa, don't move. Yeah. Brian then says, do a combined practice quiz of unit 1 and 2 before you move on to unit 3. Then unit 3, practice quiz, do not move on. Practice quiz, combined quiz, unit 1, 2, 3. You keep, what I like also about Brian's strategy, you keep bringing up that caboose, right? Somebody told us they had a test date 4 weeks out. And 4 weeks I like, but some people like 8 weeks, 12 weeks. I think that's too much personally. But the problem with that is you don't follow Brian's strategy. You could very easily forget what you learned in unit 1 by the time you get to unit 14. So, but I think once you're through that last unit, Brian, I don't think it's a material difference between doing the combined quiz or jumping into a simulated final.
That's right.
3 more months. There we go. Benita, that's just way too long. Yeah, 3 months to wait because you failed it 3 times. I'm not sure why you have to wait 3 more months. I have 3 more months. That means you took it 3 times, I'm guess. What do you recommend? Those 1-point misses, Benita, are so exasperating. The 63, I'm a little different. Benita, I don't believe in memorizing questions and answers. I think you should lay a base and then you should do an intellectual inventory and remediate. But because of the nature of the 63, I would make an exception and say, man, I would just max out my QBank usage rate and make sure I can do the test in the time allocated. Sometimes people have a time constraint on the 63. Your thoughts, Brian?
We say this a lot, Dean. Make sure you have the content specifications for the 63. Go down that list. If you have taken it 3 times, then it should be fairly familiar to you. But make sure you go down that content outline or content specifications, whatever it's called, and go down each one of those areas. The plus minus 0 method is what a lot of people use. Plus, the content. 0, it's like, yeah, kind of. Minus, I got to work on that area. Right? Go down that, because for the 63, it's either registrations, administrative provisions, or the ethics. Those are the only 2 sections of the 63. Go down that list. See if you can find that 1, 2, 3, 5 extra points that you need for the test.
Love it. Love it. Love it. 66. Woo! Well, it looks like I already have to top it off. Oh my goodness.
Oh my goodness. Oh, Dean.
Oh, man. I've changed the title of our weekly Q&A, Brian. Sometimes I call it, that's what he does. He drinks and he knows things, the Series 7 Guru. So.
I like it. I like it.
Wow. Any recommendations or study tips? I'm not sure. I think we just gave out a bunch of recommendations and study tips.
Yes.
What was Louisville asking about? I think he was reaching out on the 66 and was reaching out to Acolyte. I think we answered that, I think. If not, just put it back in the chat. And
it's for 66. Yeah, it's for 66.
What is it with all my Brazilian friends? My God, I have a whole cohort of Brazilians in my life. I know how to say good morning in Portuguese, bom dia. I don't know what it is in the evening. Somebody just told me. I forgot already. I don't know if Caroline's here. Sam, we may easily have a half a dozen Brazilians in our live stream. I've been to Brazil. Brazil practices reciprocity, Brian. So when I was in the consulate in San Francisco to get my passport to go to Brazil, I thought they were being a little, tough on me because, I asked for a visa for, 6 months. And they said, when I they could tell I was exasperated. They said, well, Dean, we're just doing what your government makes Brazilians do to come to the U.S. And I go, okay, I can accept that. That's reciprocity. Sounds fair enough. Did 1,200 questions, got 83, average 89. Any advice? I think you're right where you need to be. I don't see any red flags there. Make sure you have enough gas to, stick the landing. You don't run out of fuel. So pace yourself between now and Monday, but that looks awesome. Brian, you got any thoughts on that? I think I'd be awfully surprised.
Yeah, take the test tomorrow.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, if we could, I would. 66 in California. All right, Sam. I love how spirit-filled your smile is. That's a great smile. Passed the SIE this morning. Oh my God, you guys are trying to get me drunk. Yeah. Frankie, we're all about the test taking registration hat trick. Hat trick is 3 successes and a limited time frame. You've got your first. And the way I say it is the journey of 3-0 begins with 1-0. So, man, it's so good to get off with that first testing victory. So I'll see you on the Series 7 playlist for sure. I love it. Luke, you're in a good spot, man. Good spot.
Wow.
Same thing. Test on Thursday. I love it. Where would you place these ST scores? I would place them in somebody I don't think is going to miss their mark, is where I would place those.
Looking strong.
Brian, I followed your study plan. I passed the simulated exam while scoring high in each unit. Feeling way more confident. I should have started earlier. Highly recommend this method to everyone. I like it too, Melissa, because
Thank you,
you know,
Melissa.
I call it matriculate, right? And so with Brian's method, you're matriculating down the field into scoring position.
That's right.
Right. And sometimes people lack the matriculation part. they're not moving forward, right? They're not moving forward. So Brian's method, the nature of putting his method into practice means you are moving forward and executing your study plan. 4 days away. Oh my goodness. My Brazilian friend. I don't think you got any problems, my friend.
4 days
just
away.
I think you're just what you're doing. Rinse and repeat. It's great, Samuel. I mean, kind of maybe not so great when, Brian and I don't have a recommendation, but, you've earned the no recommendation because what you're doing is working. And how incited is it, Brian, when what somebody's doing is working and we get to say, well, whatever you're doing, it ain't broke. Don't fix it. Right. So Mighty 90, absolutely spot on for 65. All right. Those are very, very popular. I assume you're fast. The Mighty 90s for all of you. I haven't got them done for every exam, but I did a very popular video series. Hard to believe, Brian. We're coming up on 8 million views. Can you believe that? Coming up on 60,000 subscribers. Crazy. Anyways, I did a very popular series called Your Series, Insert Your Number, in 60 minutes. And everybody kept asking me to redo those or update them. That doesn't speak to me like Series 7, Part 2. Part 2. So what I did instead, and Andrews, what I love about it is when I first started my YouTube channel, I can't tell you how many people, including social media professionals, my competitors on YouTube, nobody's going to watch hour-long videos. Your video's got to be 5 to 10 minutes, no more than 15. That's the attention span of viewers today. I said, well, I'm an old kind of guy, and I know how to do stand and deliver lectures, and the minimum thing I know how to talk about takes 30, 40, could take an hour, hour and a half. Unbeknownst to me, YouTube loves that too. They like longer formats. Anyway, so then I thought, well, gee, if I was right about 60 minutes, maybe somebody will watch 90. Now the Mighty 90s, Andrews, have become my most popular video series. So crazy. Andrews, all people. Okay, I got to give a disclosure here. Let me get my banner. The nature of suffering. So, Brian, people complain. I had a guy complain. He went in social media. He said, I cannot watch this Series 7 guru. There's too many commercials.
Yeah.
And I said to him, listen, for $20, which I pay, I don't like commercials on YouTube either. I said, so I pay $20 a month and I don't have to watch commercials. I said, how long is your testing journey? Let's assume your testing journey is 6 months. So $20, that's $120, and you don't have to watch any of the commercials. Since I charge $300 for tutoring, I think that's a pretty good value. And I think the content I'm giving you for free, when you have to watch the commercials, has value. And then what he said to me is, well, I guess I'll just suffer. I said, well, young man, if in your world suffering is that you have to watch commercials on YouTube, you are pretty blessed, because there are a lot of people in the world where that would be not a problem. So, I have a saying, Brian, champagne problems. Champagne problems are not real problems. I mean, you're blessed to even have it as a problem in your life, right? So I consider that a champagne problem. Boom. I shouldn't have done that because now I lost my place on where we're at.
Yeah, I know.
The state looks like boom, boom, boom. There it is. Your videos are life-saving. Well, I know about that, Melissa. That's a little over the top. 65 in New York City. Could you please discuss questions about agency cross transactions? And I'm hoping you mean IA conflicts in a customer cross. Okay, Brian, could you put on your beautiful whiteboard there a bid of 15, risk of 16 for me?
A bid of 15?
Or 60, just any bid and ask you one, Brian. Just any bid and ask.
Oh, a bid and ask.
Yeah, a bid and an So Harrison, I'm your investment advisor rep, and you're my client, and I call you and I say, hey, Harrison, Dean here. I know I have discretionary authority, but I just wanted to check in with you. You know, we've been building this position in this stock, and I'm going to be picking up another 1,000 shares for you today, 16,500 for the 1,000 shares. And you, Harrison, say, well, no, Dean, I'm actually glad you called. Because I want to take some money off the table. Yeah, that's been a nice position. We've made a lot of money on realized gains, and I want to ring the register and take some of that money off the table. I said, well, Harrison, my recommendation is to buy the security, but you are my customer, and if you tell me to sell, I'm going to do it. However, I want to be very clear with you. I am not trading against my recommendation. My recommendation is to buy this security. I said, now listen, if we take your order to the market maker on the bid is 16 and a quarter. So he's going to give you 16 and a quarter. And the minute Harris and I finish the call with you, I'm going to be calling my other customers and getting them to buy the 1,000 shares. I'm going to pick it up. So this market maker here would love me if I call him and sell 1,000 shares and get 16.25 and then buy 1,000 shares and say 16.50. When you opened your account with me, Harrison, I told you that if we can avoid the market maker, we would like to do so. So what I would like to do, Harrison, is a customer cross, dual agency. I'd like to represent both you as a seller and my other customer as a buyer and avoid that market maker. And what I'd like to do is take it out of your account. What is that, 25 cents? I think we could do sub-penny pricing, but let's just say 16.37. You get 16.37 instead of 16.25. My buyer gets 16.37 instead of 16.50. The only loser in the customer cross is the market maker. This is dual agency. You say, well, dual agency, why is it a conflict of interest? I say, Harrison, it's a conflict of interest because I'm representing two parties in one trade with opposite interests. You would like to get the highest price possible as a seller, and my buyer would like the lowest price possible. So whenever I'm acting in dual agency, I have to disclose it. I have to have permission. I need to have that permission before we completion of the trade, which is settlement. It also has to be something we tell you that we practice. And when you open the account, I say we like to do agency crosses, right? So that's an agency cross. That's the conflict. I always think, Harrison, be like an attorney. I say, Harrison, you're getting divorced. I'm going to represent both you and your wife in the divorce. And that's a dual agency relationship because your interests may not be the same. And if you're not comfortable with that, maybe she should get her attorney, you should get your attorney, so you don't have that conflict of interest. Anything, Brian, you want to add to that?
Yeah. At least one of these customers had to come to us as an unsolicited transaction. And as he mentioned, one of the guys comes up and says, I got a nice gain. I want to sell it. So there's the unsolicited transaction.
Right.
And we have to notify both clients that this will, in fact, be the cross. Because, again, we're saying, hey, this is a potential conflict of interest. We just want to make sure that you guys know where the stock's coming from. It's just crossing from one customer to the other. That's it.
Right on. Right on. Man. Ooh. That turned me on, man. That was a great. That's added value in these live streams.
Thank you.
Marin Masters. I like that. Marin County, California. Marin Masters, like what art there in Marin. Well, I love it. I want to stop and let you know I passed my 66. Complete and a half. Right? 3 rings on that. 37, 66. I'm only going to do one toast, however, for those.
Yeah, please.
Always very, very gratifying when we can contribute to testing victories, particularly those hat tricks, Don, boy, we got some people with some very spirit-filled smiles. The state IA and state IA have no more than clients rule. It's it's called de minimis. Can I do a quick review? I certainly can. Let's start big picture. You know, you're taking some of this test is legal. So Don, I smoke cigars. My brother smokes pot, and he told me that he's allowed to have pot plants, cannabis plants, for his own personal use. And I said to Chris, what are the safe harbors for that? And what is the de minimis? And my brother said, well, what is a safe harbor? I said, Chris, safe harbor is when you ask an attorney how to do something without getting in trouble. And de minimis is Latin for it's so small, who cares? He said, oh, I get it. He said, Dean, I'm allowed to have pot plants for personal use only. And the de minimis is 3. I can't have 4. I go, okay, we'll stay within whatever that safe harbor is. Like, God knows, I don't want you to be arrested for, having greenhouses with cannabis in it, right? So that's what those words mean. So if you ask an attorney, what's a safe harbor, you're asking, how can you do that without trouble? Now, my brother and I, Brian, have talked about starting an investment advisory firm here in Arizona, Anvil Rock Investment Management. And we're going to register with the state. Now, unfortunately, Don, there is no money here off grid in northern Arizona. The large pool of money that I would want to get involved in is in Las Vegas. So the question is, does Anvil Rock Investment Management, a state-covered investment advisor, have to register in Nevada? And if I have no place of business, I have no retail client, I don't have to register in Nevada. If I have no place of business, say I find a good retail investor, car dealer, developer, usual attorney, can I have retail clients in Nevada and still not register? The answer is yes. We de minimis. De minimis means I have no more than 5 retail clients in Nevada and no office in Nevada. Brian's got it on his whiteboard there. Let me give you your whiteboard, Brian. There you go. So state IA. Now, I like what he said there, Don, because remember, this goes out the window if we're federally covered. If Chris and I start an investment advisory, Anvil Rock Investment Management, and we have 100 million or more in assets under management, we're federally covered, I can have 1,000 retail clients in Nevada and not register. Only the investment advisor rep would have to register in Nevada if they had a place of business. So the cast of characters, Don, is really, really important. So you should read every question once. I call this RTFQ. Read the full question. Are they asking about state IA or not? Because the de minimis doesn't apply in any situation where it's a federally covered investment advisor or investment advisor rep. Brian, beautiful board work once again. I think that's we nailed that. That's another one. Boy, 2 in a row, I think, Brian, with your board and my mouth.
Exactly. That's why we're here, right?
There you go. Teamwork.
Good.
Thanks so much for the video. Blitzed videos. Blitz the SIE 25 minutes. Wow. Well, you know what? That's great, though. Isn't it great to be over prepared? Listen, if we're outside the cave and you're going in to slay the SIE dragon and you come out in 25 minutes, I think you slayed the dragon.
Wow.
If we're outside waiting on you, I go, Brian, he's been in the cave an hour. Oh, not bueno, man.
Call
the longer
911.
you're in the cave, the more at risk I think you are. So I love that. I love it. I think it's a great foundation. I think that's wonderful. We get this all the time, Jay.
All the time.
You should not worry about how close any test preparer's book or their practice questions are to the actual exam. What you're trying to do, Jay, is get intellectual ownership of the content, not get practice questions that you can memorize and pass. So I think Kaplan does a very good job. I think you might, when you take the test, say, oh man, I remember that question. But that's not where your focus should be. Your focus should be on mastering the content. Now that I've said that, I think Kaplan is the best, particularly their Q-Bank and their remediation. To answer your question, the best practice questions come from the test geek himself. Brian, I think, has the best practice tests in terms of intellectual inventory and doing diagnostics. Brian, your thoughts? It looks like you have some thoughts as well.
Yeah, I describe this to people. Every test, to me, there is a gap between the publisher's test questions and the real test questions. The concepts are almost all the same, but they're not worded quite the same. They're not allowed to be. The exams are copyrighted material, so no one can duplicate what these exams are. The FINRA exams, SIE, Series 6, Series 7, that gap, in my opinion, isn't that big. They're pretty close. And like Dean said, I like Kaplan's the best because they give you such a wide diversity of the type of questions. When you get to the NASA questions, 63, 65, 66, don't freak out. The gap between the way in which the publishers write it and the real test questions, that gap is a little wider. So it's far more important to understand the concepts. So no matter how they're asked, you still know it. Go, oh, state IA has a de minimis, right? No more than 5 clients. I don't care how it's written as long as I know that. So you don't ever want to memorize publisher questions because they're never going to be exactly.
And, the way I describe it, Brian J, particularly, is you want to read a question once to just understand what you're being asked, and I'm not opposed to even reading the answer set just to see what answers are available before you really kind of jump into a question. I think, as Brian just said, that's way more important on NASA exams. What member of the cast are they asking about? On NASA exams, we have securities professionals. There's 4 securities professionals: broker dealers, security professional; agent of broker dealer, security professional; investment advisory firm, securities professional; investment advisor rep. I first, in a NASA exam, like to say, which securities professional is the question about? I had somebody today who missed a question, Brian, because they had an answer that they weren't to a question they weren't asked. The question was about an investment advisor, and they answered D, and it was truthful about a broker dealer. And he was upset that D was true, but he still got marked wrong. And I said, well, you got marked wrong because you answered a question you weren't asked. This question didn't say anything about broker dealers. Is your D choice true? It is, but it's not an answer to the question that was asked. So first read it. And then just came up a minute ago, Jay, particularly on NASA exams. But the de minimis, you got to be real careful when you read a question. Is this an investment advisor? Okay, now I got to decide, is it federally covered advisor or state? Because then that'll change the answer. And oh, damn, it's not about the investment advisor. It's about the investment advisor rep. Okay, is investment advisor rep a federally covered or investment advisor rep state? So, it's a real challenge, Hammering laws and regs. Here we go, 66, right off passing the 7. You should have some pep in your step. Passing the best practice to be able to understand the questions for 66 pertaining to this aspect. Okay, well, Michael, my thing is I always get upset with NASA. Don't fight the power. And test prep vendors, that they call that law and regulations. Because, Michael, what it really should be called is law and registrations. That's what it really should be called. And, Michael, we just came off of this idea of the securities professionals. How do we register a broker dealer? If not, why not? How do we register an agent of a broker dealer? If not, why not? How do we register an investment advisor? If not, why not? How do we register an investment advisor rep? If not, why not? That's the registration part. And then securities aren't, securities professionals. Issuers aren't. So that is so important. And the laws are primarily disclosures and unethical business practices. So there you go. Best practice for that understand pertaining to this aspect. I think both of the previous comment that we made in conjunction with the comment I just made, put those together. I think that answers your question. Brian, would you like to add to that?
No, you got it. That's it.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Howdy. Hope you're doing well. We're doing great. Just started studying Series 7, got some of the materials, scheduled a test date, or schedule a date now and grind until then. Always get the date. You need a date certain. So I don't think you should get through the material and then schedule the date. Best practice is to get the date. Get yourself a fudge factor. Right? Fudge factor, is don't scare yourself. 4 to 8 weeks, pick a number that I call it an aspirational date, pick it. And then you can adjust your study plan accordingly. And then what we believe you should do, I'm pretty sure you believe this, Brian, but if not, you can certainly correct me. I think both of us think you should reverse engineer the study plan off the test date. You shouldn't start a study plan and then get a test date. You should have a date certain, and then reverse engineer how many hours that's going to give you, how many study blocks you're going to be able to squeeze into that time. Brian, your thoughts?
Yeah, perfect. I do the same thing. I start with the test date, and we know 7 to 10 days from that test date should be practice finals, right? Prior to the 7 to 10 days, it's the textbook, it's the practice questions, it's the videos. So that's what it means by engineering backwards.
That's right. Lay that base. Yeah. Lay the base. Lay the base. Is 12 days AP enough to study? Absolutely, it's enough.
Yeah.
It might be too much. I love it. I love it. Looks like some love in that situation there. I like that. How could you not look at that and be happy for AP? Are there any Series 6 study guides or any PDFs? I'm not sure what you mean, Jay, by study guides. I would call Brian's PDF class notes a study guide. I think it would be the best out there. What do you get for that? Like $45, Brian, for your what you call your class
notes and practice final combined. The combinations.
Yeah. So I like it. He literally goes through each of those items and gives you the testable points on it. I think that's the closest I would think as a PDF study guide that I can think of off the top of my head. All right. Woohoo! Proud
in the park. Wow.
Broad by morning. Like it. Brian, number 2, help me pass the 66. Thank you. Woo!
No, thank you.
Why don't you have paper through for 910? Well, there's only so much time in the day and so many people we can help. And I know, Brian, if you're running into this, I run this. Why don't you have a 79? I go, hey, I'm a one-man band. I don't know what Brian's answer to this question is. My answer to the question is layer 14 is, I only have a limited amount of time to help people. And unfortunately, the 9s, the 10s, I do have a 9-10 playlist, for example. I need to split it up. But I think it's mainly that there's a lot of test prep vendors that don't do certain exams anymore that they once did. Brian, your answer to why you don't have a 9-10, because you're smart. Is that what you meant?
No, it's because I'm getting gray. I'm getting old.
I thought you were
the same as your answer. You didn't say how old you were, but
I thought maybe you were meaning you were smart enough not to get entangled in a 9.
No. I used to do the 9 and 10.
Yeah, same here. There you go. Done as answering somebody's insurance question. So there we go. There you go. I love it. Love it. Helping each other. Pass my Series 7. Woo! Do you think your 66 course and a Kaplan QBank is enough to pass? I hate reading the book. Well, Brian says he's a paid supplement, so I'll let him answer what his answer is to that.
How many times do we get this question, right?
We do.
So I'm going to start with the standard answer, right?
Okay.
Our material, Dean's material, my material, anybody else out there you talk to, we're not intended to be standalone solutions. We are a bridge between the textbooks and the real exam. I feel you, man. I hate those textbooks with a passion, but I've read every single one of them cover to cover, and most of them more than once. I do believe it's not a perfect system, but I do believe that it helps to set the foundation of content that you need to know. Then you can come to us to help consolidate the core content that everybody gets on the test, right? Start with Dean and I's podcast about the 66. That'll give you a flyover, what it's like, what you can expect, some of the difficulties. If you don't want to read every page cover to cover of the textbook, take it paragraph by paragraph or section by section and read a paragraph or two. I don't like reading them too, but I think it's a necessary evil. There's my answer.
All right, there you go.
Thank you.
Brian, you're the effing man. All right. I don't know if Dean do. I don't feel like the effing man when I'm in parentheses with a.
Stop.
Understand 24. Well, there you go, Patrick. I would admit to you, Brian has a video that I always tell Brian I've contemplated making my own version of it about closeout. And, every time I start to think about doing it, I go, why? There are people literally, Patrick, I swear, have been in tears after watching Brian's 24 closeout video. Part of me says, man, you're way too close to this material. There you go. I love it, Brian. Patrick, we love helping general securities principles. Remember, we have a Reddit. I'm off grid, and Casper, the neighbor's dog, is off grid. He's all over the place. Something.
That's what you need. You need a cattle dog.
Yeah, I'm thinking. I got to do some of these cows are, driving me nuts. And I don't think these cows are as dumb as people think, because I think they have intention to mess with me.
Dean, move on.
Move
on. Come on.
Stealing my chi. They're stealing my chi. All right. So again, we have a Reddit. Check it out. It's a very active Reddit. It's R Series 24.
And with the 9 and 10, that Reddit is also a good channel.
Yeah, we have a lot of 9 and 10s there as well. We make it. They're welcome. Everybody's welcome there. So we even have in that 24. We also have Brian Marks participates as well. Brian of Notman Marks. He's
Notman Marks.
Active in 24.
Yeah. I
feel sorry for him because he's got a 79 Reddit that's part of Notman's Mark 79 program. And I'm just wondering, sometimes Brian says, it says Brian Marks, man, I wish I wouldn't have done that, because he gets so many questions on that thing. I'm like, oh my goodness. Using STC, getting low mid 70s, watch ride-alongs and do so much better. I think if you went from SEC to Kaplan or Kaplan STC, you would think they're harder. Different phraseology. That's why Brian and I say, learn the concepts. But I think anytime you're using a different vendor, the variance, Brian was talking about this, the variance will be a bit larger. I'm not willing to say STC is harder. I'm not willing to say Kaplan's harder. What I am willing to say is that mid 70s are fine. That's where we would like you to be. Your comments, Brian, on STC and Kaplan being easier or harder?
I wish they'd give us passing scores like they used to.
Yeah, so we could tell them the variance. Absolutely.
The variance helps. It helps calculate.
All right, here we go. And take the 16 euro. Who's required to submit U4s and U5s for IAs and BDs? Well, I think if you get this tomorrow, it would be the investment advisor. And if you're a federally covered investment advisor, it's going to be on the rep to do it. Because remember, the federally covered advisor has no relationship, so to speak, plumbing-wise with the state. There you go. And
you're right. It gets complicated when it gets to the federal IA versus the state IA, which I don't know if the 63 will get into
I don't
that
think so.
one.
I don't think so. Yeah,
they definitely will get to this one.
It's important. Remember, I think of Vivian at U4 as hello and U5s as goodbye. Right? So,
exactly what it is.
And so when you are disassociated, you want to make sure people know you're no longer associated with that broker dealer. At the light, I will pick it up after the drawing and I answer the remaining questions, but it is our end time. We go for an hour. So we'll do the drawing. Make sure you put exactly into the chat. If you want to participate in the drawing, make sure whatever Brian puts on that whiteboard that you put it exactly in the chat the same way. Please don't put it in there until I get a chance to put it in the Wheel of Fortune. So Brian, what is it tonight for our drawing?
I don't know if anyone saw. It was all over Instagram this morning. I think they're the most amazing things. Haboob.
What the heck is that?
Dude, 2 hours south of you last night. Huge, humongous dust storm swept across.
Oh, I saw that.
That's called a haboob.
Wow. Okay. So put that in the chat. And remember what you win. Coaching call like I had with Logan today. And then you can, talk about whatever you want. He didn't want to talk about the test. He wanted to talk about the industry. I think I had some good value for him, except in terms of things that have passed me by, because, I'm kind of a dinosaur in terms of building a book. Let's see. Share the screen. Where is that? Boom. There we go. Okay, let's get rid of Vivian's.
You put 2 B's in there. You put 2 B's.
Oh, man, we got. Okay, well, sorry. Remember, redo it. Too much Johnny Walker Blue. So you got to have that. Exactly like Brian has on the whiteboard. It will not pick up the drawing. So I'm getting 0 entries. What do you think? Should I leave it up there until people figure it out, or should I redo it, Brian?
You have 3 B's in yours. I have 2 B's.
I have 3 B's.
Correct.
Yeah, I got it. I messed up. I get it.
Okay.
My point is, should I do it, or should we let them figure it out?
Now, it's easier to do it this way. There you go.
There you go. So Nigel, all you guys who have, there you go. Louisville's got it. So as I say, you got to match me.
That's right. Doesn't matter what I have.
Yeah. So we got. I think we're figuring it out because we got 10 entries now. So
there you go.
And then when we do the drawing, remember you win the coaching call. If for some reason, like Logan, you can't figure it out, just send me an email. I'm more than happy to send you the link to your coaching call. But it's available on the class tab at deantenneytutoring.setmore.com. And remember, we also have some other free things there as well. We have our weekly jam session. We have our free office hours for paid students. We have a book club that about every 6 weeks or so, we do a book club meeting. So there's some free stuff there. All right, we got 14:15. Anybody else? Last call, going once, going twice. All right, boom. You know, we're missing Marcel tonight.
Yes, we are.
Which is good. That means he can't win.
Og.
Og. All right, Og, you are the winner. You are the winner. So go to Dean Tenney. If the link isn't up there tonight, because I do it after I finish. I just finished the coaching call for last week's winner. I'll put up another link. I'll probably do that some point tomorrow. So if you go there, you don't find the link, be patient. Give me the day to put it up. All right, boom. Let's get rid of this. And I'll return after the official close to answer any remaining questions. For those of you leaving us, remember, inch by inch, your exam's a cinch. Yard by yard, your exam is art. And Brian, you say?
When it comes to those test questions, you got to learn to keep it simple. Stay with what you know. You take the test. Don't let the test take you.
All right, everybody. Brian's checking out. I will return and answer any remaining questions. All right, Brian. See you next Tuesday, if not sooner.
All right.
All right. Bye-bye. All right. Let me now go stop sharing. There we go. And now I'll go back and I'll find the where we left off. Whoop. Boom. 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 There we go. All right. And let's go to our comments. Let's see where we left off. We left off with Acolyte. Use Dean's videos in areas I wasn't strong enough in: registrations, laws, and regs, modern portfolio theory, capital asset pricing model, efficient market hypothesis, etc. Purchase Brian's course as a supplement for Kaplan and focused on heavily. I love it. Taking it 3 times and not pass. Well, that explains beneath that wait period. Oh, man, that's, well, good news. When you pass, you're going to have passed your 63, but more importantly, and more an indicator of your success in the business, you will have passed a test of your resiliency, and you're going to do well in our business. You're welcome. You're welcome. In my final prep for 66 through Kaplan, I was scheduled for this Friday, pushed it back. You shouldn't have, Julie. Not a big fan. The variance in your favor is 5 points. So you're going to have, I guess, some more margin of safety. That's 69. When I do a class of 20 people and we have between 60 and 70, the vast majority of them pass. Ran out of times. Well, that's bad. You should never run out of time on the actual exam because you should have done enough like this one, Julie, to know that it's something to be aware of. But I think my thoughts are, I wish you would have gone for it. But my second thought is, okay, we'll use this time to push up that margin of safety. I think it's very likely you would have passed with a 69 in the mastery because I just told you it's about a 5-point variance in your favor. All your scores look good. So my thoughts are, don't push it off again. So I don't know how far you pushed it back, but I hope it's not a long time out. I hope maybe you pushed it back another week. I have a couple of questions or reach you. So Acolyte, I don't know if he's on Reddit or not. The Reddit community is R Series 7. Low scores or analytical methods. Well, analytical methods includes balance sheets, retirement plans, estate planning. Yeah, I would review them all and test on Saturday. Low scores So, Sam, you're doing exactly what you want to do. I would like to know what your practice test scores are to know whether any of these things are putting you at risk, right? So the key indicator for whether you're at risk is not particular areas that we're going to remediate, which I think it's great you're going to do so, but what was your overall practice test score? All right. Woo! Done with testing. I love it, Josh. All right. I'm excited for you. As I joke, Josh, I come into your life for a reason and a season. The reason is to help you pass your exams. That's the reason. The season is how long that takes. And it looks like our reason and our season has concluded. And I'm all for that. Now you get to go use these registrations to help your clients, help yourself, help your family. I love it. Welcome to the securities industry, my friend. Past the 7 last month. On the 9 and 10, sales supervisor. I have a video, Molly. I don't know if you've checked it out. It's in the 9 playlist just on synthetics. So covered calls, you're going to net the two numbers, right? Break even for a covered call is if I buy 100 shares of Apple, I'll just get doing 231, right? And I sell a 235 call for 4. So 231 minus 4, I net the two numbers. I'm net out of pocket 227. So when you have a buy and a sell, you net. Synthetics are most similar too. So I just gave you an example there where the most I can make is from 227 to 235, break even to strike. If I lose, Molly, I'm going to lose break even to 0. What is that most similar to? Well, that's most similar to a short put on Apple, right? If I short an Apple 235 put, by the way, this isn't for anybody except 9s and 4s. If I short an Apple 235 put for, what I say, 227 for 13 points, or whatever that is, 8 points, that has the same break even, same max gain, same max loss, right? So that's what synthetics are most similar to. You can get them right by just saying, okay, what is this most similar to? You know, if I buy a put, right? I buy a put, I lose the premium. If I'm right, the stock goes to 0, break even to 0. So that sounds a lot like a short stock where I buy a call for protection, right? Because when I short the stock and buy a call, I have a ceiling. I don't lose any money past the strike price. A put, I don't lose any money past the strike price. So that's the way to approach synthetics, right? Most similar to, here's my favorite. What's most similar to a naked call? Short the stock and short the put, because it's not effectively hedged, right? So that's how I would attack that. I don't think it's a big deal. I think on the 9, people overestimate how much it's going to be strategy versus how much it's going to be sales supervision. The 10 is a real slog. So I think the 9 you'll be able to knock out pretty quick. Planning next week, 5th or 6th. We'll track my scores and then take a date. What do you suggest? Well, I think you already know what I suggest. I suggest that you already have the date, right? Yeah. So what do I suggest? I suggest that date is real and not aspirational. So, and I think we had somebody who came back and, took my advice, which was always nice, and said tonight that she took my advice and she got a date. So go get a date. That's what I suggest. Right. You're welcome. You're welcome. All right. Love it. Like I said earlier, I think it kind of came up, and I'm a one-man band. And so it's just hard to, try and do what I'd like to do. I mean, aspirationally, I'd like to do a lot of stuff to help 57s and 79s and even more help for our 9s and our 10s. And it's just, I consider myself a retired stockbroker, and I started the YouTube channel and do exam prep as kind of a side hustle that has turned out to be almost accidentally getting myself a real job. So the answer is yes. I just got to figure out, it's just a matter of timing, and that doesn't do people a lot because your test dates are sooner than Dean's, publishing schedule. You've probably seen it, Kel, but I do have a 57 practice test up. I don't think I even have a 57 in 60 minutes, but I do have a practice test. Chapter 10, any tips for taking a series exam after I'm finished? I'm not sure, kind of a broad question. I'd like more particulars. We talked earlier, CT, about a study plan. And we did say that if you send Brian an email, brian@testgeekexamprep.com, he will send you a PDF on study plans. All right, there we go. Pass the Series 7. Woo! Always very gratifying when our content contributes to test-taking victories. You're welcome. It looks like we're coming down the back 9. There you go. I love it. Yeah, I do take some heat from my loved ones sometimes. There you go. I like Acolyte too, Louisville, because he tends to be one of those people who takes recommendations and implements them, which is partly why he's a successful test taker, a victorious test taker. 66 tomorrow, 8:30. Whether you can make Javier or you're done. You should be getting a good night's rest. You should be fine. Love it. Yeah, you just got to get a good night's sleep. But here's my advice. Got a couple pieces of advice. All you can do at this point is be confident in the execution of your study plan, because its execution is over. You got to be confident in yourself. Most importantly, tomorrow, you got to be confident in your answers. Don't be changing answers. Now, what I want you to do, Javier, tonight and tomorrow morning, I want you to go into your bathroom. I want you to look into the mirror. And tonight, I want you to say, "Mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the greatest 66 test taker of them all? Javier, Javier, Javier. Bravo, bravo, bravo. Hoorah." I want you to do that again tomorrow morning. Mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the greatest Series 66 test taker of them all? Javier, Javier, Javier. And then, if you have the guts, my dog's barking at me. If you have the guts and you want to take a break during the exam, I want you to go into the Prometric restroom, look in that mirror, and say, "Mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the greatest test taker of them all?" I had a student do that. I think that'd be funny at the Prometric site. Somebody actually did that. Thank you so much for the teachings. You're welcome. Take a 7 tomorrow. Well, there we go. I think you're fine. Benchmark, the variance is in your favor, just like the Kaplan Mastery. So I think you're good shape, great shape. So yeah. What are some exam freebies? Well, at this point, I would tell you that I don't have any freebies for you, but you do have time. I think you should be sleeping, as I just told Javier. You need to get a good night's rest. You need bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. I know about you. When I'm tired, my reading skills are greatly diminished. And you've got to be on top of your reading force. So the most important thing is to get some rest. If you must, I have a night before exam for the Series 7. There's 2 of them. One is your Series 7 in 60 minutes that has the freebies you're talking about. You can look at the comments of victorious test takers, the freebies they found in that 60-minute video. People liked it so much, they asked me to do a second version of it. And I kind of did. I did the Mighty 90, your Series 7 in 90 minutes. Same deal. You can look at the comments, and there's some nuggets, some freebies in there as well. They're different videos. I can tell people don't pay attention because, "Oh, it's the same video." I go, "Obviously, you didn't watch them because they're not." Logan from the coaching go, "Welcome, Logan." Man, Logan, I love Logan's mental state and his positive mental attitude. He's doing it the old school way in terms of trying to find an opportunity and not waiting for those opportunities to come to him. Lander, I was thinking about Horatio Alger. Horatio Alger has one of my favorite sayings: "God helps them who help themselves. Those who wait passively for fortune to shower her gifts upon them are likely to wait a very long time." And what I love about Logan today is he was telling me that he's doing in-person cold calls. Logan, I didn't think of this when we were talking, going to look for that opportunity, but I used to take baby brokers out with me. Baby brokers is a derogatory. It's a term of endearment, rookies in the securities industry. And Logan, a couple of times when we go knock on somebody's door, they would think we were the Jehovah's Witness or the Mormons, and we're here to, and I remember one time somebody said, Are you with the Jehovah's Witness? I said, no, we're not here about his soul. We're here about his money. So, I like it. I like it. Logan has taken his SIE on his own dime, his own time and past. Now, to make himself less of a speculative kind of investment in human capital, he's taking his 65. And I was telling him, I think that'll be a good reason to go back to these people he's looking for an opportunity with. Say, hey, I just passed my 65. And I think if he does that long enough, there's got to be somebody who's going to say, you know what, I got to give this guy a shot. 60 soon was what do you think about the hardest topics are? Everybody's different, Jake, on 66 about what they think is harder. You know, I have math guys who love math and people who are math phobic. So, you know, there's no consensus on what the hardest topics are. I think the hardest topics are dependent on the test taker, not so much the content. There you go. Love it. Well, man, well, these people, listen, I'm glad that you're on the live stream. This week, I've had 3 or 4 people, when I hit the Zoom link for tutoring, they're testing tomorrow. I'm like, hey, I'm not a miracle worker. So, you know, the night before, I told you the day before your exam, for all intents and purposes, the execution of your study plan is over, right? So I'm going to watch the mining now. You love it. I love it. You know, the part of that video, the reason I love it is it's not a natural circadian rhythm, you know, wake up and go take an exam. So what I'm hoping is those mighty 90s or series 7, you're not going to learn it the night before or the morning of, but maybe it gets you in a better rhythm. You're not warming up on the actual exam. Yeah, there you go. Good luck. Bon chance, mon ami. What is my favorite Rolex? Well, I'll give you a tour sometime. Let me see. I got a couple. Let's. All right, so here we go. These are a couple of my favorites. I have a lot of my type. This is let me get rid of this. This is a Rolex Daytona. That's one of my favorites. I love Panerés. I got a lot of Panerés. So this is a Panerai. I got this in different colors. Here's my Panerai in yellow. I like that one. I couldn't find my other Rolex. I have it's in the other part of the box. I got a watch box to go on. This is one of my favorites. This is a Frederick Mueller. So I don't have. I'm not monogamous with Rolex, AP. I had a client who said to every gentleman should have 3 fine watches. This is a Blueface Submariner, and AP. When I first got my first big commission check, I bought this, and I was teaching a class, and a guy told me I bought it was like $5,000. But God, that's like 30 years ago. Somebody told me that watch is now like 20 grand. I go, wow, well, I guess I made a good investment. My friend said, well, do you have a safe deposit box? I said, no, I got a pistol that's right next to that watch box. So 8:30 live already. Okay, there you go. I love it. That's what you should be doing. I like to smoke a cigar, you know, whatever's going to get you in the right kind of frame of mind. You know, it's really about putting on your game face, so to speak. All right, I think we're caught up. Let's go past now the drawing. And it looks like we're almost done here. So, is there such a thing as study limits? There absolutely is. Burnout is real. I've had to tell many people to take a day off to refresh and reset. Sometimes just taking a day off to refresh and reset will cause test takers' scores to bump significantly. So yes, you can. So particularly on past perfect. Right, woo! How soon? I think, man, if you worked for me, I'd hand you a 63 textbook and say, hey, this is Tuesday. How about by Friday of next week? If that's for 63. If 65, you better give yourself 3 or 4 weeks. All right, we got a lot of test takers. Love it. Could I review tax treatment? Oh my God, we're already a half hour over. In less than 12 hours. Well, Valerie, as I said, you shouldn't be worrying about any last minute kind of content because it's not going to be helpful to you. Your execution of your study plan is over. Anything I would share with you would just push something out the other side of your brain housing group. So as I said, what you need to be worried about tonight is to be confident in the execution of your study plan because it's over. Be confident in yourself, and more important, be confident in your answers tomorrow. Now, I don't know what you mean federal, state, and local, because the only thing that could be about is a muni bond. Muni bonds of any issuer are federally tax exempt. A muni bond may or may not be state and local tax free. Right? The state of New York can tax you on interest you receive on New Jersey bonds. So if you're a resident of New York, you should buy a New York bond because New York could choose to tax you, but chooses not to give you an incentive to invest in New York or political subdivisions of New York. In that scenario, it's now double exempt. New York City has a city income tax. And in New York City, if you buy their bond, they're not going to tax you on it. So that would be triple exempt. So that's what I mean by local. I only know of a couple of cities that have a local income tax, city income tax. Philadelphia, I've heard, has one. New York City has one, right? All right, there we go. Love it, love it, love it. Next Tuesday, there you go. You should feel confident. Feeling confident is like 10 points. Not feeling confident is like -8. Right? So looks like it's his last one, Nicholas. 9-2, I love it. All looking good. Any advice? Rinse and repeat. You're looking very, very good. All right, everybody. Well, I hope you enjoyed our Tuesday session. We're here every Tuesday. So I'll see you next Tuesday. You can submit questions early to explication request at guruexamprep.com. I had a couple requests that I didn't get to tonight, so I'll get to them next time. I don't think they were here. They probably would have said, Dean, what happened to my question? There you go. There you go. Yeah, I'm with you. I think that you should do that. I just put up for Series 7 what I call my alpha test. And I warn you that unlike the actual test, it doesn't give you a balance of easy and difficult questions. It only gives you the most difficult questions you could expect. And I tell people that if it's causing them to do damage to their psyche, they should stop. Because, I practice the Hippocratic Oath, which is first do no harm. And I contemplated whether to put that up or not, because I thought, somebody might, take this alpha test and be damaged, right? And I certainly don't want that. So, yeah, I think you made the right choice. I think the right choice is to just stop. Be the test. Let the test come to you. Don't be on top of it, right? There's a happy medium between two on top of this thing and letting it come to you. All righty. Yeah, I'm trying. I got a lot going on. I told you I'm off grid and my battery's acting up. Good news, it didn't shut me down tonight. So I gotta put in a new solar inverter, and I got these cows bothering me. Brian's had to let it go. So it's a great week. But living off grid is always a certain amount of adventure involved, right? So, all right, everybody. I'll see you next Tuesday, 5 p.m. Arizona time. Same bad channel.